Oh no.
All right, we're going live. We're going live. Here it comes. Oh, God, you ruined the intro. Lewis,
What?
it's supposed to be this nice, soft start. The almost live screen comes on, and then you hack. Oh, God, you're making it worse. Wait, is that Leander? He's coughing. All right. You ready for the tweet, Lewis?
Yeah, so ready.
I rate this a 9.5 out of 10 on the tweet scale. I hope you're ready for an Olympic grade tweet.
You think it's going to cause a tweet quake?
A tweet quake. It might cause a fissure in the tweetosphere. It might cause an anomaly in the tweet time continuum.
Oh, heavens.
Marty! No, wait. Lewis! There you go. And boom, we're live. Hey, guys. Shout out to Zach Hicks. Shout out to Corey Blosser. Oh, you guys are just... Look at you two guys. Are we interrupting? You guys look like you're having a great time in the chat. Should we leave? Are you guys on a mandate here? They're having a little guy time? They're just in there. That's cute, guys. They're just in there chatting about stuff, talking about their personal lives. I love it. All right, Zach. Hey, look, I want you to be truly ruthless in the moderation of today's chats, okay? If anyone says anything even remotely offensive, out. If anyone uses the letter H or the letter T, out. Okay? No H's, no T's. That's today's rule. Oh, Roz Hall's Hill? Yeah, yes.
We're gonna do claps again. My recording wasn't working. If you're worried about it,
your recording wasn't working. Yes.
QuickTime, buck it up.
Okay, let's try it one more time, and then if that doesn't work, we'll just.
Okay, it's working now. It's recording.
Okay, ready? Let's do some claps, guys. You get to see how the cheese is made here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, shout out to Roz Hall, hello, Gav, Sajid Iqbal, hey, y'all. Dan DeWitt, hey, boys. And then AMH, Anthony from London, UK, hi, team. Go, Team CultCast. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today, guys. Lots of stuff. Oh, there's the concurrent viewers popping in. I was going to say, that's it? That's it for the freaking reactions? I guess the event was on... Was it on Tuesday, Lewis?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, man. If you could just have one word describe your state or your reaction to the keynote event, what would it be, Lewis?
Loaded.
Good one.
Leander, what was yours?
Same. I got loaded too.
You were loaded. We know that. we just frozen.
It was pretty loaded. I mean, because we were all scrambling to get stories out, and I got the short straw for the purple iPhone, and so I'm here trying to do the purple iPhone. I thought, oh yeah, I got plenty of time to do this. They'll be talking about it for a little bit. I better get up a quick post and then return to the stream. And then by the time I got back, to got the post up to put the thing up, it was almost over.
Yeah, it was a fast-paced keynote, wasn't it? It was like hard to keep up with it. I was trying to put together clever tweets, and by the time I'd get done crafting a tweet, they'd already moved on.
Yeah, they moved on something else. Yeah.
I guess mine would be. That's how I felt.
What the heck?
It was just overwhelming. Huh?
Yeah. That looked unpleasant. It looked like you're trying to pass a stone.
That was my actual reaction to it. It was just so fast-paced, and it really was. It was loaded, wasn't it? It was like one thing after another, and they just packed. And then, of course, I was in pure bliss once they announced those iMacs, Lewis. Ye of little faith. Ye of little faith. Not everyone can be Columbo. What can I say? All right, let's see here. I think we should just hop right into it because Lewis has some plumber friends coming over. They're going to do plumber stuff together. What is wrong with your house, Lewis?
How much time you got?
30 seconds. Give me the elevator pitch version of what's wrong with your life.
Okay, this is kind of interesting. Yeah, so the laundry room out in the back of the house.
Yeah.
It starts every time we run a load of laundry, it backs up a little bit in a little drain. It's supposed to be for the backyard, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, that's interesting. Well, so I try to clear it every which way I can think. Nothing. Guy comes over, plumber comes over yesterday, does basically the same things I tried. Had a little more luck, at least like getting the tools in. But then these guys who are working on the house next door come over and like say, "Oh, is something going on?" Because our house, the backyard drainage system, went out of our property line across to the neighbor's property line and tied in with their drainage system.
What?
And these guys just cut it and capped it. So, and then they're like, "Oh, gee, well, we thought it was dead." So now, if it rains in my backyard, there's nowhere for the water to go.
Oh, no.
If we do a load of laundry, there's nowhere. So basically, they're going to have to bust out the concrete and put in a new line to connect to the main line. Yeah, very exciting.
Oh, my gosh. That's like when I got that $1,500 water bill, and I was like, oh, no, what happened? And I called their support center to beg for forgiveness. And he said, oh, you could have a leak somewhere. He's like, hopefully it's just a misreading. We just misread your meter, which I won't tell the whole story again. That is what happened. They just basically misread it and sent me a $1,500 bill. And it was like just totally misread it by like 3,000 gallons. But he said, oh, but it could be like a leaky line in your yard. And I said, oh, well, what would we have to do if that happened? He said, oh, you just, have a plumber come fix it. I'm like, well, wouldn't they have to dig the whole line out of the yard? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, paying a plumber to dig a line out of the yard, that sounds like it would cost $10,000. And it probably would cost $10,000 in Seattle.
These guys said, yeah, probably like $5-6 grand. Because they gotta come over today and they gotta jam a camera down the regular actual drain that still works, and then figure out how to connect this new or the old thing to the other. I'm
gonna pray for you, Lewis. You're gonna need help from above.
Great. Luckily, we're getting rich with the podcast. So,
yeah. Well, now that we got the Apple Podcast Plus subscriptions, where Apple's taking 30% of your revenue, they'll let us have a few crumbs after it's all done. Hey, Zach, can you take a look at MG Khan's comments? They said that they are going to be selling their full-size HomePod to get a HomePod Mini. Let's just get them out of the chat, please. Let's just kick them off the show. Thank you.
Don't you mean like get their contact info so you can buy it?
Actually, now you're thinking. Yeah, you know what, Amjid, that's actually a great decision. You should probably sell it, and if you don't want it anymore, I'll give you $50 for it, and that's halfway to your HomePod Mini right there. So that's actually a great deal. Let's talk about the Apple event, please. Dalva Veronica is getting impatient. Sorry about that. Okay, let's I'm sorry we were sharing our personal lives with you. I know that was a huge mistake. Not what you're here for. Let's see here. Okay, let's go ahead and pull up. Let me see here, Mrs. D. There she is. Are you ready to go, Mrs. D? Oh, you know that I am. The people are getting restless. We don't want to hear about your face mask recipe today. Maybe next episode. We need to get started, so we need you to get things ready. I was born ready. Okay. Well, if you're ready to go, let me go ahead and just pull up my notes here so we're both prepared. Because we do this. This is a tandem act. It takes you and I to get this thing rolling. I love doing the dance with you. Oh, well, thank you very much. I like dancing with you as well. Before this gets any weirder, let's go ahead and start the music and get this show rolling. Here we go. Hello and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airfun Elijah. Joining me today, it took emergency medics 30 minutes to revive him after this week's spring-loaded event. He was so overwhelmed with the keynote, he went full catatonic, and we almost lost him. But he's back from the dead. He's the founder of CultMac. Leander Caney is here. He was just like this. 30 minutes. Also with us, he should definitely buy one of those new iMacs, but he probably won't because then he couldn't complain every single week that his ancient MacBook takes too long to load stuff. And, well, that just wouldn't feel right. He's the managing editor of CultMac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it.
Lewis, you could get one of the red iMacs that match that really beautiful watch that you have on.
I did see that. I thought,
I just really wouldn't have pegged you as a red guy. You just don't strike me as a red guy. It's a very bold choice.
Yeah, it's I think bold is that's the only word you can use. Bold. Stupid. You wouldn't use stupid.
Bold choice for a bold man. Well, we're going to talk about the iMacs. We're going to talk about AirTags. Let's see, what screen am I on? we're going to talk about it all. And there is a lot of stuff to talk about, right? Because we got so much stuff at this event. And this is going to be our reactions and first impressions to everything. And if we have time, we'll also talk about the updates to the podcast app and the new podcast subscription stuff. I don't know if we're going to have time to get to that story. We'll see, because we got a lot of stuff packed in here. But the podcast stuff was also really interesting. And I know it's exciting for me because I make podcasts, and this is going to make us all extremely wealthy. So there is that. But it's also going to be interesting for people that love podcasts, because Apple's changes to the podcast ecosystem are hopefully going to motivate Apple to not completely and utterly neglect the platform that they started 15 years ago and not do anything with it, and hopefully actually start, I don't know, innovating in that area, which would be so great for all of us. But I digress. Let's do a quick thank you to Squarespace before we hop into everything. If you need a website, Squarespace has everything that you need to grow online. Simple tools for your big ideas. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com/cultcast. Squarespace.com/cultcast. No credit card is required. You can do it all. You can build a blog. You can build an e-commerce website. You can build a membership website. You can create a simple, impactful website for your brand, for your personal achievements, for your event that's coming up, to highlight the things that you're good at. Maybe you're a great photographer or you're an artist or something, and have a web presence that you could put up quickly that will look great on any device that visits. And you'll be able to put a website up fast, or you can dive into all of the mechanics of the website without knowing how to code, by the way. Everything's drag and drop. And create a website that looks uniquely yours, that you'll actually enjoy maintaining because it's so easy to use and it will look beautiful. And then if you want to activate some of the other modules later, like if you want to start selling products online, you can do that later. You don't have to do it all at the same time. So you have a lot of potential, a lot of power with your Squarespace website. Head on over to squarespace.com/cultcast to get started with your free trial. And if you like what you have at the end of the trial, you can use code CultCast at checkout to save 10% off your first purchase. Plus, if you do a year of service at the start, that's what I do. You get an additional discount and a free domain name, squarespace.com/cultcast. And the offer code to use at checkout is CultCast. Okay, let's just hop right into it, Lewis, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I thought we could start with one of the long-awaited pieces of hardware. I wasn't even sure these existed, quite honestly. But we finally got AirTags announced, and I'll be honest, they're even better than expected. Take it away, Lewis.
Leander.
Take it away, Leander.
Yeah,
One of you, take it away.
AirTags, tracking tags. They appear there's a new items tag in the Find My app where they appear. You can get them to play a sound. But the better one is the on-screen pointer. And we tweeted out a GIF this morning that shows how that works. You know, you hold your phone in your hand and it'll guide you with arrows to within inches of where the tag is. It comes at $29 for one, or a 4-pack for $99. There's no mounting accessories, but you can buy a $450 Hermes leather luggage tag. $450. What?
Was it that much?
Yeah.
Of course it was.
$450.
You sound surprised.
Just mind-boggling for a piece of leather. Anyway, it's hyper accurate down to a few inches. The whole process is encrypted and end to end. It's a user replaceable battery, a little watch battery, and it lasts up to a year. As it runs low, you get a notification on your iPhone, and you can disable AirTags alerts for members in your family if your family's sharing. And if someone finds a lost AirTag with their phone, which can be an Android or an iPhone, if you set it to as a lost tag, it'll give you your telephone number, contact information, and then they can get in contact with you. And I was reading a little bit about all the privacy stuff as well, and how they were trying to figure out how to avoid people getting tracked. Like if someone surreptitiously drops an AirTag into your bag or pocket, you'll get an alert if your phone detects that you're being followed around by an unregistered AirTag. And we'll see how these things work in real life. But it seemed like they had thought fairly carefully about the privacy and the security aspects of this device. It looks pretty well thought out and really nice. 29 for one, I thought was a bit high, but for a 4-pack for $100, not the cheapest, but and I was looking at polls as well. Like a lot of people are kind of skeptical of it. Someone ran a poll this morning saying you're going to get them, and the majority of the alerts were no, not interested, which I thought was really interesting.
I'm getting one. I'll probably get a 4-pack. I think that they're really interesting. Although I was trying to think about what I would use these for and what I would track with them, and I am kind of having a hard time coming up with something. I don't really know what I would track with them besides my keys. I mean, the thing that I really want to track are my Apple TV remote and my AirPods. Those are the two things that I always lose. But my keys are kind of up there as well. And I guess maybe, I don't know, your computer bag or something. But yeah, I am having a hard time coming up with something. Lewis, your thoughts on AirTags?
Yeah, I mean, they sound useful, but yeah, I don't know. I can't even really. I have the same thing, and I read some reviews. Somebody saying like, "Geez, I don't know. Apple sent me 4 of these things. I don't know what to put them all on. I can't use them all. I mean, I suppose you could put one in a backpack, right? That would kind of make sense.
Yeah,
well, I have tiles, and I put one on my bike, actually a couple of bikes. I hid it under the seat as a tracking device in case it ever gets stolen. In my bag, on my key ring, in my wallet. There was a card one on the wallet, but I kind of found them, like they weren't that reliable. And then when you kind of need it, you don't use it for a year, and then when you need to use it, you try to ping it, and the battery's died, and you didn't even realize.
Does it send you an alert when the battery goes dead?
Well, if it did, I never got it. Or I didn't notice it.
Here's kind of my problem with AirTags. Well, first of all, let me just say, I think that these look incredible, and I'm really excited about them. I am going to buy them. I think $29 is even less than we were thinking they were going to be. I thought they were going to be $39 for one, right? So $29 is a great price. Hats off to Apple for making these as affordable as they are. But the thing that kind of makes me a little concerned, and these just came out, so we're still learning information about these, but part of the thing that makes me a little concerned are the anti-tracking features. So if you have an AirTag on your person that does not belong to you, if you have an iPhone, you're going to get a notification that the AirTag is in your presence, and it's following you around. So, and if you have an Android phone, or if there is no iPhone present, the actual AirTag is going to start beeping. So that means that the AirTags are more appropriate for things that you've lost and not things that have been stolen. If something gets stolen and it starts beeping, the crook's going to be like, "Oh, thank you." And he's going to take it out and chuck it into the water. And you'll lose the AirTag forever, and you'll also lose your bike. So if you're trying to recover something that's been stolen, I hope there's a way to silence the features that would notify someone that the AirTag is following their person, because otherwise then it's assisting the criminal to help locate the AirTag and get rid of it.
I heard it's like the default is 3 days later. Is that right? After it's been disengaged from whatever your iPhone.
Uh-huh.
So it's like it's 3 days, that's not bad. I mean, you should, if your bag has been stolen or if your bike has been stolen, I mean, you should notice right before 3 days are up. So it gives you 3 days to do it, like you said, and I think you can also change it as well.
Well, I know that you can disable the tracking features if the person is in your family share and they're like going to borrow your car, they take your keys. You can disable the notification that the AirTag is tracking someone, right? That the AirTag doesn't belong to. And you can also, or the person who is borrowing your keys can disable it on their iPhone if they borrow your car, if they're not in your family share network. So there is a way to disable those features. I just hope that there is a way to do it if someone steals your stuff so that the criminal doesn't know that they're being tracked, which is kind of the point of the AirTag, in my opinion, right?
Right.
There's a lot of information about AirTags that we don't know yet, but they look really incredibly useful, and they have super hyper accurate tracking features. The reviews are already out because Apple sent these to people a couple of days before they made the announcement, and so we have some videos out there showing how they work. And it's pretty cool. So when you lose something, your iPhone, you can bring up a screen, and it will basically show you an arrow. I mean, it's basically exactly how we described it previously. It will show you an arrow, and it will point you exactly to where you have to go, and it will say how many feet are left, so you know exactly how much further you have to go in order to get to your thing. Now, the thing that's interesting, too, is I saw a video by The Verge, which I actively try not to watch videos by The Verge, because I can't stand those guys. But they made a great video, and they were in New York trying to find an AirTag that they had intentionally misplaced. And it was showing where the AirTag was, but the guy who hit it was, like, trying to be funny, and he taped it up high. And so Dieter Bohn was trying to find the AirTag, and he couldn't because it wasn't on the same plane that he was. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it. So I was like, oh, wait a second. That's actually really interesting. What if you lose your AirTag in a building, like a 4 or 5 story building? Is the AirTag able to tell you that it's like 40 or 50 feet above you? Or is it just going to say, oh, you're in the same place as your AirTag, but it's not thinking 3-dimensionally. It's only thinking in 2D, right? It's either, in front of you or behind you, to the left or the right of you. But what if it's 100 feet above you on the 7th floor or something? If it's not good at doing that, then all the criminal has to do is go to the nearest skyscraper, and your MacBook Pro is going to be gone forever.
Right. You'll never find it.
You'll never find it again. Oh, yeah.
Well, people also are wondering whether, like, if you hit it in a fridge or a metal box or something like that, if it's locked in a car, can you see it? Does it? Does the metal act as a Faraday cage blocking the signals?
Oh,
those
interesting.
are good questions too.
Probably.
Well, actually, one use case that a lot of people were talking about is like, giving to kids and pets, putting on the cat collar, so you can track your cat. I don't see why that wouldn't work. It's kind of big, but wouldn't that work for a cat or a dog?
It probably would work pretty well for a cat or a dog. Now, Rene Ritchie did a interview with some of the Apple execs, and he asked that specific question. He said, "Can you track your kids with these?" And they kind of like veered away from that. Like, well, it's not made for tracking your kids. You'd want to get them an Apple Watch for that. I don't know why you couldn't track your kids with it, or a cat, but they said that your cat or dog would need to be, or your turtle, whatever you have, would need to be near an iPhone. But I mean, where is your animal going to go that it's not going to be near an iPhone, unless it escapes into like a national park or something? But even in a national park,
then?
Yeah. Actually, maybe even more so in a national park, because there's no walls, right? So you would be in communication with an iPhone somewhere. That's kind of the power of AirTags, is they communicate with other people's iPhones, and there's like 1 billion plus now. So there's literally no place they can go. Maybe to the Mariana Trench. Is that what it's called? Maybe if they head down there. But they'll probably be like one of Buster's iPhones down there somewhere. So even down there, you probably will be in contact with an iPhone somewhere. So I think these look really cool. I'm excited to try them out. I just have to figure out what I'm going to attach them to. And of course, how are you going to attach them is the other thing, right? Because they don't come with any attachment hardware. You just get the puck, which is kind of weird. So if you want to actually attach them to something, you're going to have to buy a keychain or something. And Apple's releasing a whole line of accessories, which look cool, but the aftermarket is going to be absolutely packed with garbage.
Bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, bunch.
I mean, Amazon's going to be selling these. eBay's going to have these all over the place. So there'll be tons of ways to attach your AirTags. So there you go. There's AirTags. What do you think, chat? AirTags. You guys excited about those? I think they look pretty cool, but some people seem to be pretty lukewarm on them. I'm going to go for the $99 pack. Yeah, Lewis.
Yeah, I just realized, gotta buy one, at least one, to drop it in the wife's wallet.
Yeah.
Because
she keeps losing it.
I would have paid $30 yesterday just to be able to go, oh, honey, let me find it for you, as opposed to like, where's my wallet? Where's my wallet? Where's my wallet?
Does she lose her wallet a lot?
She does tend to misplace it, yes.
So there you go. So that actually might be really useful.
It's worth $30.
Yeah, that might be worth.
Plus,
I
wouldn't have to buy a a little holder. I could just put it in there like a nickel, right?
Yeah, just let her know.
Coin there.
So she's not all freaked out when it's like, this AirTag has been following you, and she's all freaked out and goes to her nearest police station. Yeah, Zach is saying, I wonder if I could put one in my car and track that if stolen. Yeah, you absolutely could. But see, that goes to my point again, is if the criminal's getting away and he's like, hey, what's that beeping? And he opens up the glove box, and it's beeping. And he's like, "Oh, thanks, Tim Cook." And he throws it out the window as he's driving, like that scene from The Matrix. So there's got to be a way to put it in silent mode, right?
Same with The Matrix. Are you kidding? When they pull that bug out of his
Yeah,
tummy?
yeah.
What made you think of that?
I was just rewatching The Matrix, which is damn good. It is a great movie because we were talking about Matrix 4 coming out last week. Or not coming out last week, but it's coming out. We were talking about it last week. And so I rewatched The Matrix. Dude, it is a great movie. It really is a good movie.
Yeah. Even the sequels aren't so bad. They're a bit bloated, but there's some moments.
I totally agree with you. There are some people that really don't like the Matrix sequels, like 2 and 3. And I thought they were good. I like all 3 of them. I think the first one's the best. But the third one I thought was good. They wrapped it all up in a really nice way, I thought. Anyway. So there you go. That's AirTags. What do we have next? I completely lost my notes. Oh, we're going to go to... Oh, here we go. This is for Lewis. We also got the... Lewis, this is apropos. Speaking of The Matrix, apropos vis-a-vis. This is apropos for you. You get to tell us about the M1 iMac, the machine that you didn't believe existed when I basically proved it to you last week that it was going to come out. And you didn't believe it. And I felt... righteous and justified
Total vindication.
when it came out.
I'm so ashamed. I can't believe I can even hold my head up. And
I know. How can you show your face on this podcast anymore, Lewis?
Yeah, Zach Hicks, can you ban Lewis from the podcast? Can you see if you can? Is there any way to eject him from this show?
Who could possibly have believed that flipping over the thing backwards and seeing hello in it would? Yeah, okay. I'm still not sure that was.
I know it was some beautiful minds level investigation happening there. But anyway, go ahead. So we have the new M1 iMacs out now. What do you think, Lewis? Tell us about it.
It is here, and it's faster, thinner, and more incredible than ever.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. It's the world's most popular all-in-one, and now it runs on Apple Silicon. Silicon? I never know how to pronounce that. Silicone. I know it's not silicone. Anyway, so it comes in 7 different colors. It's a 24-inch screen, right? 24-inch 4.5K Retina display with True Tone, 500 nits of eye pop and
screen brightness.
What?
What?
What did you say?
I said screen brightness. What did you say?
Oh, brightness. I said which I think is the technical term. It's got an 8-core M1 CPU that's up to 85% faster than previous 21.5-inch iMac. Also features up to 8 GPU cores that deliver 2 times faster graphics. Great speaker system, Apple says. We haven't heard one yet, but it has 2 pairs of force-canceling woofers balanced with high-performance tweeter for a 6-speaker sound system that produces quote-unquote massive sound.
Yeah, I was going to do the air quotes too. I was a little skeptical of that. Massive. They look beautifully made though. I was looking at the schematics or some schematics on the site, and the drivers. I mean, they managed to get them into that little tiny space. It'd be fascinating to see. They've been doing some amazing stuff with audio for years. So
I'm very, very curious to see how it sounds. For me, the moment of this that was like shocking was when they showed that profile shot. I was like, my God, it's basically an iPad on a stick. I mean, it's so thin, and in a way, like people are complaining about the chin, right? Because everything's jammed into the chin, the speakers, the processor, everything's down in the chin, and people are like, why did they keep the chin? And it's true. Like, do you actually need your computer to be that thin?
Not a desktop.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? But then other people are saying, well, it's because it's designed to be moved around easily. Even like the way that the cord pops out easily in the back and everything.
Who's going to move their desktop computer? I've moved mine for 10 years.
Well,
that's
you
can't.
could imagine it. You could imagine it in our current situation, working from home, right? I mean, I could certainly see how that could happen.
Well, is it going to be like those hilarious pictures? You remember that there was a picture of a guy at a coffee shop with an iMac. He had plugged it in. He took it out of the local coffee shop.
I mean, why couldn't you really? I mean,
now
it sounds
you
like
really
really
could.
light.
Yeah.
And, it's just it's almost just like an iPad, only it doesn't have a touchscreen.
Well, it's amazing how much it looks like the iPad. The iPad industrial design has been used across the board. I read an interesting comment. Someone was saying that the reason they put the chin is still there is because they need to keep the internals away from the screen because the screen generates heat. So it's all about thermal management. They had to isolate it. So either where are you going to put it? You stick it on the if you stick it on the back, you're going to have like some kind of hunchback on the back. So you put it on the bottom. The people's problem with the chin is that it had no Apple logo.
It is an
right?
odd
It looks
choice,
kind of
isn't it?
weird.
That is
and
a little
generic.
strange, isn't it? Yeah, it's only on the back. Huh.
I-
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I
Liz.
was just kind of blown away by it. The colors and I mean, I was like, oh my God, it's just so tiny and so sleek and so slender. I didn't look at that chin and go, oh, an abomination. I thought it was fine.
Well, a lot of people, I think, were thought it was an abomination. I've seen a total like a gradual progression in people's reactions to it. Like people, I think, were freaking out about the chin. So there was a whole bunch of renders of like what it should have looked like with like thin bezels all around. And now today, there's a lot of people saying, it's really grown on me. I really like this computer. Like a lot of people are really saying, and they're discussing which colors they want. Yellow or orange or green. People are really coming around to it. It seems.
Leonard, what do you think? I mean, it seems it's such a beautiful homage to the original iMacs. Doesn't it feel like it has like this enormous historical? Well, it feels like it's a new generation of the original iMacs, don't you think?
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to see them go back. They become very austere. The design language was hadn't changed significantly in 10 years or so. So it's nice to see him refresh this. I mean, I thought initially that I liked that, that I wanted one that was just a screen with no chin. But like a lot of the people I was saying, I've come around to liking it. I'm really intrigued to go see it. The thing is, I was kind of holding out for a bigger one, and there's a lot of speculation that like later in the year there's going to be the new M1 iMac Pro, and that's why they didn't have a space gray. For this because they're saving the space gray for the Pro machine, and it'll come out like with a 27 or maybe even a 30-inch screen, which I mean, if that's true, that it really sounds compelling. So I'm kind of, I don't know. Do I want to wait for till later in the year? I work on an iMac every day, and it's getting kind of creaky, and I've been trying to replace it, and I've been looking for the M1 Apple Silicon. So I'm definitely in the market for this. I'm really, really tempted to go out and get one of these ones, but I'm also going to, sitting on hoping they're going to come out with a bigger one later in the year. But I don't know. There was like, have there been, substantive rumors about, a new iMac Pro? I don't think there have been, have there?
Well, we have heard that there's going to be a 24-inch and a 32-inch, and that is the big, that's the big part of this computer that makes me not want to purchase it. Is it has the M1 in it, which is fine, and the M1 is incredibly powerful, as we've seen from the Mac Mini benchmarks. But I was kind of hoping that we were going to get an M1X variant, but now almost certainly we're going to see that with the 32-inch iMac. And then maybe at that time, if they release that model, they'll add the ability to have the M1X or whatever they end up calling it in this machine. But they really delineated their consumer-grade machines from their pro machines, in my opinion, when they released this machine. Because the iMac used to be a little bit more powerful. It was more powerful than, say, your MacBook, your regular MacBook was, or even your MacBook Air. And now it basically has all the same internals. All their computers have the same internals. It's kind of weird. And they also consumerized this computer. Like, it's colorful. It's very flat. It's portable. It's a little bit less powerful than you would expect it to be, even though it has the M1. And so it seems like in the near future, we're going to have like a pro event, and they're going to talk about all the pro computers. Yeah, go ahead.
There was, is this, how sure is there? There were a lot of people speculating that era of the iMac Pro is gone because the lesson that they got from pros is that pros want that upgradability, that their hardware, they want to be able to put in different cards or whatever, like different chips, more RAM, and that the iMac Pro is that Apple's not going to do that anymore. They're going to keep the pros happy by doing something that's much more upgradable. No more trash cans, no more iMac Pros where you can't tinker with the internals. It's going to be going back to the old the old box where you can get in there and you can tinker around with the insides of it, adding drives and so on and so forth, which I thought was, some interesting speculation, and does kind of seem to be maybe Apple will go that way. Do you think that's plausible?
I think that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
That would mean no iMac Pro then.
Well, they could revive the iMac Pro. They could still revive it and bring it back, or maybe not call it the iMac Pro, but the iMac, some other model. I just don't.
Max.
Max,
the
yeah.
iMac.
Max.
Yeah, there you go. I just think that too many pros rely on iMacs for them to completely neglect the fact that there's going to be a huge demand, I think, for an M1X variant of this machine. Or maybe they just upgrade this to have the M1X. Maybe that's all it would take, and then 10G Ethernet connection or something, and then that would be the end of it. Because other than that, this computer looks amazing. Although 24 inches is a little bit small. I think most people who are going to use this for production are going to want something that is larger. 32 inches seems like it'd make a lot of sense. We've heard rumors that they're working on a 32-inch model, so I'm sticking to that. I think that's what they're going to do, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm not going to buy this one, even though I think for most people, this machine really looks incredible. iPad on a stick is it's amazing that they don't hire you, Lewis, for your wonderful marketing phrases. It's basically like an iPad on a stick. That's what it is. It's so weird to see like
second choice.
all their computers now sharing the same SoC, the system on a chip. It's just very weird to see different form factors with the same kind of power.
In the early days, that the iMac was basically the same as the iBook was basically the same as.
Oh, really?
Back in the original one, yeah, the hardware was almost basically the same, and then with the Mac Mini, it was almost exactly the same motherboard and chips and all that kind of stuff. So this is their old playbook. I mean, they've been doing this for years, 20 or 30 years.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the actual computer itself, Lewis, because it
kind of got sidetracked halfway through that giant wall of text.
Yeah, sorry. I thought that we could at least mention the keyboards and like the color matching and stuff, because people might be interested in that stuff.
Yeah, well, and also comes with 8 gigabytes of RAM.
Yeah,
256 gigabytes storage standard. Comes with all the ports you want: Thunderbolt, traditional USB 3 ports, Ethernet connection that's built into the power brick, which I thought that was pretty sweet. So it can be hidden under your desk. Doesn't have to be.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So that you don't have to have like another cable coming up into your computer.
Yeah.
And then that way, when you take this thing to Starbucks, you can just plug it right into Ethernet, and you don't have to have like all the cables coming up. You won't look ridiculous taking this into the Starbucks now.
You won't look ridiculous. Yeah. It's got Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth, of course, and that Bluetooth connects you to the little keyboard with Touch ID built into it, color coded to match the machine you buy. Awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Even the trackpad and the Magic Mouse and everything all have the exact same color as the iMac itself. Now, you can't buy these accessories independently. I was reading that you have to get them with the actual iMac. There's 3 variants of the keyboard. One is a standard size with Touch ID. One's a standard size without Touch ID, and then there is a extended keyboard with the numeric pad and Touch ID if you want to have that monstrosity on your desk. I hate the freaking number pads on the side of the keyboard. It makes the keyboard way too large.
I didn't really. I kind of heard that, but I didn't really realize. So you can only get them with the computer. So it becomes like a thing that you have to pick when you buy your thing. Like I want to.
Yeah.
They did this purple one, and I want this keyboard. You have to make that. That's interesting. I wonder how much actually they charge for the Touch ID.
Can you get a mismatch colored one?
I don't think so.
And they did this with the Mac Pro, iMac Pro. Remember a couple of years ago when that came out with the space gray keyboard, and then they offered it for sale. My question is the front facing camera's been massively upgraded, isn't it? It's now 1080. Why aren't they doing Face ID on the iMac on computers? I mean.
Why are they not doing it, you mean?
Yeah, why aren't they doing Face ID? I mean, isn't it about time we had Face ID on a computer?
Yeah, why are they not doing it? Why are they doing Touch ID?
Right.
I was trying to figure out what you said. Yeah.
Is that
what you said? I'm not sure that is what you said.
It's because there's no forehead. There's only a chin.
It is interesting. Maybe to keep costs down is the only thing that I could think of. Well, they have a camera in the forehead. It's just integrated up there, Lewis.
Yeah. I just, it seems puzzling to me because Face ID is I think it's such a great system, and it really is, good. And you don't have mask issues, I'm guessing, right? Because people are, inside, at their desk at home or whatever. Why haven't we seen a computer with Face ID? I find it a little, maybe there's some kind of technical reason, or maybe people are too far away from their computer.
Maybe that, or maybe it's because when you interact with the computer, you're always sitting right in front of it. So anytime anything needed to be authorized, it would automatically just do it because your face is just always right there. And Touch ID is more intentional, right? So you actually have to initiate that engagement.
But that's kind of the whole point, isn't it, really? Like, especially for passwords and stuff like that. The number of times I got to fiddle around with passwords. My God, passwords, I hate them so much. Like I would just love to be able to sit there in front of my machine and, just have it like, look at, ID my face and do that all the time without having to muck around with anything. Anyway, I don't know. I find it curious they haven't done it.
I kind of like the Touch ID interaction on the Mac because, like I said, then you can be in charge of the interaction. I kind of like Touch ID just period. And I wouldn't mind if they brought it back to the iPhone in some capacity. But it is cool now that they have the Touch ID built into the keyboard if you want to, use it for passwords and that type of thing. So I was blown away by this computer. I think it's beautiful. It's iconic. It's nostalgic. And it's incredibly powerful. One of the things that Tim Cook mentioned on stage, which people just kind of blow over now with these new Macs, the M1s are, a lot of people don't really understand how much more powerful they are than the Intel variants that Apple was using before. On my, $3,000 MacBook Pro, I could probably crank through some 4K footage in Final Cut Pro, and it would struggle a little bit, maybe in some scenarios. On the iMac, the new iMac, which is like a third of the price, you can edit an 8K video. I couldn't even edit an 8K video on my MacBook Pro, on my 16-inch MacBook Pro.
Which is how old? Only a couple of years
old? It
old?
was 2018, yeah. And and the retail value of it was probably like $3,500 or $3,600. I don't even remember, maybe more. So
a lot less.
Yeah, so now you get like pro-level performance in a machine that is a fraction of the cost. That's huge. And you also have these beautiful new colors, this beautiful new design that is absolutely portable and so thin and beautiful. So I just think that they hit it out of the park with these machines. The only reason I don't want one is M1X. I really think that we're going to get an M1X variant.
There's a lot of people, I think, thinking that too. And is it a strategic mistake not to, to spell out that roadmap? Because there's going to be a lot of people sitting on the fence, I think, waiting it out for a bigger one, for the M1X machine. And if it's not going to come, then
it's going to come.
I think it's coming.
Didn't you flip the invite upside down and read it?
It's obvious.
If you close your eyes and touch the lines of the invite, there is a subtle braille written into it that you can read, but you have to hold it upside down and flip flop it 360 degrees, and then you can feel the message in it. So it's there, Leander. You just have to work to
all right. Well, I've got faith.
Yeah. So anyway, there is the new iMac. What a beautiful, incredible machine. I was just blown away by it. Let's talk about the 2021 iPad Pro. If you've been waiting for a machine that is ridiculously overpowered, that has more power than you could possibly ever need, and there's no way you will ever actually fully use all of the power that is included, it is here for you. It's the 2021 iPad Pro. Let's see here. iPad Pro now with the M1 chip, because it is going to have to be just as powerful as a Mac now. And Apple's saying that it's 50% faster CPU, 40% faster GPU. Now the USB-C port has been upgraded with Thunderbolt, leading to faster connections for external drives and all of your accessories. And you have 5G. If you want the 5G variety, you can get that. But what really blows me away is the new XDR display. So I should say, if you are thinking about getting an 11-inch iPad, well, the 11-inch and the 12.9-inch have pretty much all the same specs in common, except for the fact that the 12.9-inch gets the new mini LED display, and the 11-inch just gets the regular liquid retina display. But the 12.9-inch has some incredible technology built into it. In fact, I was thinking this is now the best television in the house. So there are 10,000 mini LEDs that are driving the lighting behind the new iPad Pro 12.9-inch. And there are now 2,500 dimming zones. And just to kind of put that in perspective, when you buy like a top-end TV that's not OLED, it might have like 200, 400 dimming zones. And now this new iPad has 2,500 dimming zones. So far and away more than anything that I've seen on the market. Maybe there are some mini LED TVs that Samsung has out that have dimming zones that match this capability, but none that I've heard of. And what does that allow it to do? Well, it allows it to have a really absurd contrast ratio. So this one is 1,000,000 to 1 on the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. And it allows for a very small selection of LEDs to be illuminated so that there is no blooming. What is blooming? It's when you have like a really bright object on a dark screen. On a normal television, because there are so fewer dimming zones, the light from the LEDs is coming through the blackness of the LCD screen, causing like a halo effect, which is one of the things that people don't like about LCD screens. Well, this is going to minimize it, if not completely eradicate it. So now, because they have such fine control over the mini LEDs in the back of the screen, only the parts of the screen that need to be illuminated will be, and the rest will be completely black. So it gives you like a plasma, I go to plasma, of course, an OLED level of contrast ratio that you just can't get on most LCD televisions. So this is now going to be the best screen in your house. Probably by far the best screen that exists today, unless you have like an OLED display. You also get you get up to 1,000 nits of full brightness, which is enough to see the screen in full-on daylight. And it also has 1,600 nits of peak brightness. So the 11-inch iPad Pro only has 600 nits of full brightness. And this can get up to 1,600 nits of peak brightness if it needs to. What does that mean? It means that when you're watching HDR movies, you're going to have one of the best HDR experiences that you can have on any display that is on the market today, hands down. Because you'll have almost perfect blacks in a lot of the screen, plus you'll have the really bright peak brightness if you want it. Now, one of the drawbacks of OLED TVs, which have perfect blacks, is they can't get very bright. So with HDR content, things like clouds, things like white mountains, they can't really pop. Things like reflections off cars, they can't really pop because OLEDs can't get bright enough. Well, on this, you kind of have the best of both worlds. You have the perfect blacks because the mini LEDs can turn themselves off when they're not needed. So you get the perfect black screen. And then for the pop, you get that really hugely bright 1,600 nits of peak brightness. It's just going to blow your eyeballs straight wide open. Your eyelids are going to be flapping.
It's going to be. You're going to get lasered.
You probably won't be able to see.
Homelander.
This is going to usher in the world of blind or of see.
This is like crazy overkill.
Uh-oh. Lou's lost it. Is it overkill though, Leander, or is it just enough? Is it just what we needed?
Know. Between the speed of the machine and the power of it and the screen and
yeah,
it just seems like kind of crazy.
You know what? I kind of agree with you. It seems like it's ridiculously overkill. Sorry, Leander, go ahead.
Well, and it's relatively reasonably priced too, right? At $1,200 starting at.
Yeah, especially now that it's basically a Mac. I mean, it's essentially the same thing. It's a more portable Mac. And so it's not like the iPad is some diminished experience now. In many ways, it's better than a Mac. And you have the same level of computing power now. So it's...
And with the keyboard, you can basically turn it into a laptop. I mean, the keyboard works fantastic. The touch keyboard they have.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, so, and they also added an ultra-wide camera to it, improved the front-facing camera so that it actually looks good and doesn't look like absolute shite now. Actually, that's the funny part about this whole thing. It only took a year-long pandemic and everyone working remotely for Apple to finally put decent cameras in their computers and their iPads. It only took a year-long pandemic. Then Apple finally said, yeah, we should probably upgrade our pathetic front-facing cameras and rear-facing cameras on our iPads and on our Macs so that people can actually use them in Zoom calls and not look like they're living in that cave that Iron Man was captured in, right? So that's one of the bonuses of being locked down for a year. And let's see here. So we mentioned that Thunderbolt, or maybe we didn't mention this. Thunderbolt's getting upgraded, so you go from a USB 3.2 Gen 2 port to a 40 gigabit per second port. Thunderbolt port as well. And let's see here. Oh, if you want more RAM, you can get more RAM now. It used to be that only one level of RAM was offered. But now, if you upgrade to the 1 to 2 terabytes of storage, your RAM automatically gets upgraded from 8 gigabytes to 16 gigabytes for free. So
how do you not make that jump?
Well, it does cost you $1,000. So if you want to go from the
What?
256, actually it might be more than $1,000. Yeah, if you want to go from 256 gigabyte storage to 2 terabyte, I think it's $1,000. I'll have to look. It actually might be more.
I thought the 1 terabyte one was only like, I mean, I just said only, but I thought it was only like 1,500 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean from the base model to the 2 terabyte model. But I'll have to look. But it was ridiculously expensive. And then you also get Center Stage, which is that cool feature that follows you around the screen. Lewis, you pretty excited about
really
that?
Cool.
I can't wait to see how that actually works because it sounds unbelievable.
Are you being serious? I can't tell.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds great. I mean, I was just sitting there while they were talking about it, I'm like, how does that even work?
Well, it's so wide and it captures such it gets the whole room, whatever's in front of it, basically. But then it, narrows it down for the field of view to just, and, tracks and pans around. So if you're moving around, like Facebook's Portal, I mean, that actually does not have a motor that allows the camera to follow you as you move around the room. But this one, I think, is just, cleverly, they just zoom in on the parts of the scene they want. And the iPad can stay stationary. So it doesn't have to actually
sounds
move.
Amazing. If it works as smoothly as the demo, which who knows, or demo, the Hollywood movie that they showed us.
Yeah, I bet you it will be really buttery smooth. Like Leander said, it's just going to be digitally zooming around the screen. So it's kind of a useful feature if you're doing a lot of Skype calls, Zoom calls, or what have you. And these days, who's not, right? It's like all of us are ever doing. So there is the iPad Pro. It's an incredible machine. It's a Mac level performing tablet, and there's just nothing like it on the market. And the thing that I'm most excited about is that mini LED screen. That mini LED screen is the beginning of something really exciting in screen technology. And I'm looking forward to seeing the iPad in person, and I'm also looking for them to moving that technology to other Apple devices. Like, are we going to see the mini LED screen in the new MacBook Pros, in the new iMac Pro that we may or may not see in the future? I hope so. The iMac Pro probably not, because that screen's probably going to be, it's going to be too big to include that feature.
Is it too big? Is it going to be too big for those for mini LED?
Well, it's not going to be too big for mini LED. Mini LED can do that, no problem. It's just from a cost perspective, I wonder if Apple would be willing to throw down the money to put that in.
Super prohibitive. Huh?
Yes, exactly. But mini LED is really exciting technology because it combines the strengths of OLED with the strengths of LCD, and very, very few of the weaknesses. So there's no burn-in, and so you just get like a really superior display.
Is it low power too? Is it pretty good power?
No, it's LED, so I don't know if it's quite as energy efficient as OLED is, because OLED has pixel level control. Every pixel is individually controlled, so they can churn each pixel on and off. So maybe it would draw a little bit more power, but it's LED, so I can't imagine it would be, way more power hungry than an OLED display would be. But in any case, I've been following screen technology because I'm waiting for the next generation of screen technology to come out before I actually buy a television, which I've been telling myself I want to do for like the last 5 years. And it seems like we're getting to a point where there is some really exciting screen technology coming out. And now we have the next generation on the iPad Pro. So again, this machine just looks ridiculous. I don't think anyone who buys this is going to take advantage of all of the power that it packs. I think Apple knows that people are going to convince themselves that they have to have this because they are doing a lot of remote work. But do you actually need this power? I don't think so.
Well, people are complaining that we haven't seen any of the Pro apps yet to take advantage of it. Final Cut Pro, a bunch of the Adobe ones. They want to see that software, and hoping that WWDC in June is going to be, like a big coming out party for a whole bunch of iPad Pro apps.
Well, that's kind of the problem at this point, right? Is even if you wanted to take advantage of all the power on the iPad Pro, how are you going to take advantage of the power on the iPad Pro? You can't multitask like you can with a Mac because it's running iOS, and the applications generally aren't as full featured as the Mac variants, so you can't really push the iPad the way you can push something on a Mac. So I don't know. Maybe they are preparing, like you say, for something in the future that's going to happen. I mean, clearly they are.
Right.
That's what they're doing, right?
I saw point out you can never, get enough power. It's future proofing, isn't it? This thing is going to be able to run, apps and the OS for years out. Like how long is it going to take for the OS to be able to tax this hardware? 5 years or whatever, 10 years. Maybe it's got, so it's got a long runway of future updates, which is good.
But that's what we were saying about the iPad Pros that came out before. It's like, look at all this power. Eventually, you're going to be able to take advantage of it. And now the machines are antiquated. Well, not antiquated, but they're not current. They're not current.
It's way more powerful. The one I've got is like, I can't remember, like a year old. Way, way, way more powerful than I'll ever need.
Yeah, and mine is too. And I knew that when I bought it. I was like, I only use my iPad to watch Dr. Disrespect videos before I go to bed. And I thought maybe if I throw down the extra money, I'll use it for all these other things. And I don't. I use it for Dr. Disrespect videos. Although one of the things I do use it for is packing stuff up to send to Amazon to hawk on the common man. Like I will, because you have to figure out what is going to go in what box. Oh man, I won't get too deep into this because it gets complicated. Amazon has you package your stuff up in a certain way. And for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I started an Amazon business and I'm selling stuff on Amazon FBA for Fulfilled by Amazon. And you got to send everything to them and they make you put everything in all these different boxes and send them to their different fulfillment warehouses. It's an absolute nightmare because you have to figure out like, well, what goes in this box and what goes in that box. So what I started doing is just putting everything into like a OneNote on my iPad. And then I have my Apple Pencil and I can scribble out things as I put them in different boxes. It makes it so much easier to track what's happening as I'm packing up boxes full of garbage. Yeah, so it is useful for that purpose. But so there's the iPad Pro. Let's talk about one of the most exciting things that Apple announced, and that was the Apple TV 4K. Who's on this one? Is that you, Lewis?
Oh, I thought for sure it's going to be the podcast app. Yeah, it's me. Apple TV 4K now has soon we'll have an A12 chip and a sweet new Siri remote.
Oh, baby.
Finally.
Oh, baby.
The upgraded, we don't even really need to talk about the chip, right? It's faster. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. And you can probably talk about how it's going to enable a whole bunch of like crazy extra high def video, right?
Sure.
But really, what people want to know about is that Siri remote, right? The Siri remote packs a click pad control system, which isn't it just basically like one of those old iPods?
Yeah, it's basically it's the iPod jog wheel.
Yeah, and then the touch sensitive ring that goes around the edge of it that you can jog video back and forth. Dedicated power and mute buttons. And I guess there's so you can actually turn off your TV with it now, supposedly. Yay!
Yeah, it has a power button at the top.
Yeah, and I mean that thing, it looks like twice as big as the current remote, right? I mean,
it does look harder, doesn't it?
It's as
How
thick
big
as
is it?
The new iMac. It's almost is only like a fraction bit thicker, a fraction of a millimeter thicker. So it's almost as thick as the new iMac.
Wow!
Oh wow!
It looks pretty big. I mean, it's a pretty big step backward toward more like a regular remote. Although that jog wheel thing looks great. I mean, that's one of the hardest things. I have a hard time with the scrubbing back and forth on the video on the current.
Oh yeah, it's hard to do.
Using the touch part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks good. Let's see, Apple TV 4K. It's going to boast support for high frame rate HDR and Dolby Vision video. Once again, brace your eyes for impact. Users can enjoy fast moving action at 60 frames per second for a smoother viewing experience. And it'll also allow video shot in full 60 FPS Dolby Vision on the iPhone 12 Pro to be watched on Apple TV. I'm almost out of energy talking about this thing. Let's see. Finally.
Yeah, go ahead.
What? Do you want to read this last bit here?
Yeah, go ahead.
What is
Do it.
Finally, the new Apple TV 4K promises a complex and impressive sounding feature whereby it will work with your iPhone to ensure picture quality. Now, this is totally crazy, right? So if you have one of the iPhones with the, what is it, iPhone 11 or 12, I believe.
Yep.
You hold it up to the screen and it basically does color calibration for your TV set, so you don't have to Have you ever dug into those color calibration things? I mean, I just feel like completely out of my depth anytime I look at that. I'm just like, yes, just go back to basic. I don't care. It's fine. But some people like, I'm sure you're gonna do this on day one, right? You're gonna.
I've already done this, but the thing is,
oh, you have?
Oh yeah. I've done this on my
beta,
TV,
right?
Oh, not on my Apple TV, but I did the color correction on my TV itself. This is hugely creative, and it's such a great idea. For those of you who have never color balanced your TV, you either have to pay someone like a professional to come to your house and give them like $500 to do this for you, or you have to buy a color calibration system from Spider or something, and you put a sensor on your TV, and then you connect the sensor to your Mac, and then the Mac uses the Spider software to calibrate the colors and tell you where you're off. And then it will say, hey, turn up your red this amount, turn up your green this amount. And so through this whole process, you are able to calibrate the colors on your screen so that they look accurate, right? But this will allow you to do all of that on the Apple TV and leave your archaic screen calibration stuff alone. Now, it may not get you exactly all the way there, but it will probably get you very close. And for most people, it will be close enough. And it's free. You don't have to spend $500 for a professional to come out and do it. You don't have to buy a calibration system for $200 and then mess with it on your Mac.
Well, this is free if you have the latest iPhone and the latest Apple TV.
You know what though? It works with the Apple TV HD and the current Apple TV 4K.
Oh shoot!
It's not just the new one. I was kind of stunned to see that.
Oh, really? Okay.
So it basically is free as long as you have the Apple TV.
Yeah. You have to have, I think, iPhone 11 or 12. I don't even, is it iPhone? Do you have to have an iPhone 11 Pro? That's one thing I can't remember.
I'm not sure about that.
What exactly it? I think it might use like the Face ID cameras. I can't remember now.
It monkeys with the settings in the Apple TV, not the actual TV itself. So if you switch to a different input and you go back to cable or whatever, then it's not going to. It'll be all hideous colors again, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's just unwatchable.
My TV's set. I put it onto the in-store mode, where it's all hideously vibrant. Everyone looks like it's so crazy looking. But if you turn it down to like the cinema setting or TV or natural or whatever they call it, it just looks washed out and ugly. So I can only watch the TV on the most hideous dialed up color setting now.
Well, check this out. I want to show you guys something. Can I share my screen with you guys? I accidentally closed the window, so you guys are just gonna have to. You guys are gonna have to use your imaginations, but the viewers will be able to see what I'm talking about here, and I'll describe this. The freaking so I like the current Siri remote on the Apple TV, but the new one really shows how poorly designed the old one really is. So if you're looking at the new one, there's a power button on it. There's a scroll wheel. Such a great idea. There's a back button, so you know that you're going back. There's the home button. There's a pause button, a mute button. So you really only need one remote for your TV and your Apple TV now, because with my TV, I have to use my TV remote to turn it on and adjust some of the stuff, and if I want to mute it or something. But now you can do that all on the Apple TV remote. If you look at the previous gen Apple TV remote, there's a menu button and there's a screen button at the top. Well, the menu button also acts as a back button, I think. I'm actually not even sure what the menu and the screen button are supposed to do on the older Siri remotes. So it just looks confusing right from the get-go. I've never understood exactly what these two buttons, the menu button and the screen button, were supposed to be used for. So I just kind of caveman my way through it every time I would just mash them and just hope that the right thing would happen. And now you look at the new one and it's like, okay, now I know what all the buttons are used for. And I was thinking, the $179 for the new Apple TV is probably alone worth it for the new remote, because some of this other stuff I don't care about, like the Dolby Vision. My TV's from like 1994, so I don't really care about that stuff.
You're in luck, man. You can buy it by itself.
You can buy the new Apple TV remote for $59, and I think that is a hell of a deal.
Selling like hotcakes.
You don't think $59 is extremely expensive?
No, not for a great remote. This is one of my most used pieces of technology. I use this remote every single day. And oftentimes I pick it up and I'm like, why isn't the scroll thing working? Oh, because I'm holding the controller backwards. Because you can never tell what direction the controller is pointing. And so I think that this remote is well worth it. And you can you can see how thick it is right there. Look at that. Yeah, it looks like the new iPad or the new iMac, doesn't it? It is a much longer remote, though. So they tried to make it more ergonomic, I think. So for $59, I would have paid $79. I hope TC doesn't hear this episode. I would have paid $79 for this, just for this remote. But you can get it for $59. Now, unfortunately, it says currently unavailable. So it's on Apple's website, but you can't buy it yet for some reason.
I think it goes up for pre-sale on the 30th with the
Does it? Okay.
TV and the iPad and the iMac and all that. But yeah, it's very tempting, and that also works with the last two gens. Like basically, if you have if you have one of those accursed Siri remotes, you can swap it out for this one.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have a wireless charging. That would have been pretty cool, right?
Or a UW chip. I mean,
that's the really amazing thing. That is the amazing omission.
Yeah, that is surprising, isn't it? You thought for sure that they would have built that in so that you could find your freaking remote, but instead they just made the compromises. They just made it fatter so that you can't lose it as easy. Fatter and longer, and that way you won't actually lose it. Also, nice to know. It operates up to an altitude of 10,000 feet, which I believe is 5,000 more feet than the last Siri remote. No, I'm joking. I don't know if that's true. But there you go. Now you know that you can use it in 32-degree temperatures or 95-degree temperatures. So there is the Apple TV 4K. It's a relatively, I would say, uneventful update. But the star of the update certainly is that new remote. But you can get that new remote for $59. You don't have to spend $179. That's definitely what I'm going to do. I'm just going to buy the new remote. I don't need the new Apple TV. I need that new remote, though. That's for sure. Out of all the things they announced on stage or in the event, I would say the remotes and the AirTags are the two things that I'm definitely going to buy. Can we also point out that the events themselves now have Apple's signature, right? They just do those events better than anyone else. They've defined the way that a virtual event should take place now. No one does them better than Apple. Like the way the scenes integrate with each other, they have CG elements that blend into camera shots. They've done things in a manner that I haven't seen done in any kind of live event before. They're creative, they're fun, they have great flow. They had a scene where Tim Cook had a Mission Impossible mask on. You guys remember that? It was like, who is this guy? And then you hear a hey-o. Then all of a sudden he pulls the mask off and it's TC in the spy place doing spy stuff. So there was just a lot of fun.
The guy falling into the couch for the AirTags commercial.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one.
I don't think I caught that part.
Huh. Yeah. The guy goes to find his lost keys or whatever in his couch. He goes into the upside down.
Did they rip that off from a Michael Gondry movie? Wasn't that stolen from or Spike Jones?
I don't know.
Was it stolen from somewhere else? It kind of reminiscent of Train Spotting, when he goes into the toilet for the suppository, but not as gross, obviously. But I think I've seen that before somewhere. Someone goes into a couch and it's kind of like a weird plush wonderland with all sorts of strange creatures. Can't remember what it was though. I'm sure I've seen it before.
I'm gonna have to check it out because I have no clue what you're talking about. I was for part of the keynote. I was watching it while I was driving my car. So I was also composing. Yeah, because I had to go somewhere real fast. So I was also composing tweets via dictation, trying to surprised I didn't crash.
Say this out loud. This could be used evidence.
It was completely safe. I had both hands on the wheel and I was speaking.
Safe.
I was speaking slowly and deliberately so Siri would understand everything that I had to say. So,
no, officer, I was not tweeting while driving.
I wasn't tweeting while driving. I was speaking to Siri while I was driving, and that's allowed, isn't it? You're just not allowed to touch your phone. And I had both eyes on the road. Every once in a while, I do a quick glance just to make sure that Siri wasn't changing my words to something that I didn't say.
That
could
never happen.
Yeah, that would never happen. Totally accurate. So there you go, guys. Really exciting Apple keynote event. And I guess my question is now, what are we going to get for the next one, and when is the next one going to be? Because we still have the new Mac Pro, like the smaller Mac Pro. We have the MacBook Pros, the new ones that are coming out. And then we also have the iMac Pro, or whatever they end up doing with the iMac, where they're going to do something with the iMac. They're not going to neuter the iMac and just leave it as like this fun prosumer toy that it is right now, which is powerful enough for most people. But if you are a serious power user, you want that M1X. You want something that is going to be worthy of the Final Cut Pro videos that you're going to be making. So with that said, I'm going to crank up the meter here for the music.
Hey,
what?
Wait.
What?
We need to tell people about this week's giveaway.
Oh,
right.
yeah. Well, what's the website that I can go to for that, Lewis? So that
it's a website called cultofmac.com.
Oh, I have that blocked on my router. Let me see if it'll let me through.
I'm sure you got one of those hardware devices that just filters it right out. So we're really trying to do giveaways so that we can connect people with our, a lot of the things that we use and like, and a lot of them are things that are in the Cult of Mac store. Like for instance, this week we're giving away 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 perforated leather Apple Watch bands from Monoware. They come in this burnt orange color that's new to the line. Is
there a URL that I can go to bring this up so people can see this for who are watching live, Lewis?
It's just a live post, right? I'll send it to you in the Slack.
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, it's look at my Mac struggle to move with Slack. Oh, my.
Here we go. You know what you should do, Lewis?
Oh, gee.
Just get an iMac. This is your chance. You were just saying the other day that the reason that you don't want to buy Apple technology is because you waited a few months and then you're like, oh, well, I can't buy it now. I need to wait till the next version comes out.
That's the problem. It's too small. That screen is too small.
24 inches is what? 10 inches larger than your current computer is? What are you using now?
I guess I could park it there where the laptop is.
You got like a 13-inch MacBook Pro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is 10 inches bigger. It's almost double the size.
Right. I don't know. Got a room for that with the big. Anyway. Okay. So you see it now? The Monoware leather band in burnt orange. People can go to the website, and I'm sure you'll put a link to the giveaway in the.
I will indeed.
YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Monoware makes nice stuff. It's really nice. They're really good manufacturer.
Yeah,
that is nice. Okay, here we go. It's like a perforated leather band. Very beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I once again, I wish that the Cult of Mac giveaways were open to employees, but unfortunately, no.
Well, just put on like put on one of those glasses with the mustache, and then change your email address to Fluis.
Fluis Lawless.
Okay, so the giveaway is happening now. It ends, I think, in 3 days. So if you're hearing this is on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. At the stroke of midnight, your chance to win this beautiful Apple Watch band will be gone forever. So I will put a link in the show notes if you want to check this out. Tell you what, I'll make it easy for you guys. I'll put a note, or I'll put a link to the post in the chat right now. So if you guys want to go and enter right there, you can go and do that right now. All right, and with that said, now I really am going to start the music because there's nothing left, Lewis. We're puttering on fumes here. Is there any other surprises that you want to mention before I hit the music?
No, I think I'm good.
You want to talk to us about your goatee trimming tactics?
We could go back to my plumbing.
Well, let me just go ahead and do this then. We'll save plumbing for another episode. We got to give the people something to come back for, right? All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this reactions episode to all the beautiful hardware analysis. My hair is slicked back. I mean, it's back to normal now, but it was slicked back at the end of the event. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. If you want to come tell us what your favorite gadget was from the giveaway or from the event, see, I'm losing it. We're all on Twitter. I'm at Erfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. Leonard is at LK. This has been the CultCast, the best 30+ minute conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm tongue-tied. My tongue is flipping, it's flopping, it's floozing. It's boozing, it's cruising. You know what I mean? I can't get the words out.
What do you mean?
You didn't notice that I was just basically Joe Bidening my way through that?
Oh, my. I knew you were going to go there.
I kid.
I cannot wait another minute for lunch.
You don't want me to go get my chicken, Leander? Show it to you. She's probably right outside my door.
Oh my god.
She's been dying to be on again. Think of the ratings.
What number is this?
489, Lewis. I mean, Leander. 489.
Crikey.
I know. Can you believe it? We'll be at 500 before you know it. And hopefully by then, Lewis will have a new computer so we can have him stop complaining about how his Mac takes 30 seconds to load Twitter. This is your time, Lewis. The time is nigh.